Alright, so this is going to be a more serious talk today, and a thank you for the 200 subscribers that I've recently achieved on YouTube. This is going to be heavy in the emotions department, and if you don't want to hear that, feel free to leave. So, I wanted to start off with my thanks for my family, my friends, and everyone I've met along the way. But anyway, on with story time. So, whenever I was growing up, the situation was that I didn't have a real male role model for probably after I was 7 when my grandfather passed away. He was the best man I will ever know in this life, and without him, I would be nothing of what I am today. He taught me to try to take care of my family as best as I could and to always love them. I wish I would have learned more from him in the time that I had with him, but that wasn't the story life wanted for me, I guess. After he passed, the entire family kind of took it hard, and the bad tendencies that were already kind of there, like drugs and alcohol abuse, all that stuff started to really take over. There was even, I know YouTube hates this word, but there were suicide attempts from at least 3 different people in my family that just didn't know how to live without the guy that had pretty much led the whole family for the past 70 years. I even was susceptible to this. I dealt with drinking problems at one point, and I dealt with suicide in my own mind, depression, all that good handy-dandy stuff. I definitely drank myself into a hole at one point in my life, and I feel bad about that because it's something that I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive myself for, but I don't really partake in that anymore in a negative way anyway. Every once in a while, but it is how it is, I guess. But the bad thoughts and stuff really started taking hold after I was probably in my early teens, which I guess it is how it happens for most people. But previously I'd seen my mother, my aunt, my grandmother, all of them pretty much kill themselves in one way or the other. Not literally, but might as well tried to have. And in some cases definitely tried to. It made me grow up. It made me grow up really fast. And it definitely affected my relationships with family, friends, romantic or otherwise. It left me emotionally unavailable for a lot of people in my life. Like my brother, who I love to death, and we've seen him on the other channel a number of times, but I definitely wasn't there for him as much as I wish I would have been. He never got to meet our grandfather because he passed away probably about a year before my brother was born. So I just wish I had been there more for him growing up. But, on to some other things. I never myself ever even planned on being here this long. When I turned 15, I had made my mind pretty much all the way up that I would end things around my 18th birthday. I was stopped in it this idea primarily due to friends and the ones that remained after high school still keeping up with me and still, inviting me to do stuff. I know they tried keeping me around for the most part, and whether they knew it or not, this pretty much saved my life for a lot of part in here. I even at one point had pushed myself away from them, probably early into around the mid 19 year mark for me. I tried to make everything better for when I was gone. I even subconsciously started to try to find my way out of it. At the time, I guess starting to chicken out. And around that time, I had started a very unhealthy relationship with someone. And, well, the relationship really, messed me up. There's no good way to say it. I just didn't take things well, and I was already kind of checked out on the whole life thing. And, around that time, the drugs and stuff in my family had become really bad. And I was having to sleep with a gun with me. And that probably didn't help the case at all. It was, right there, it was easy. And that's the way that a lot of people choose to check out. And that would have been the plan. I was sleeping. I had a really bad day. And I had told myself, I'll give myself one more day. If I don't feel better after I wake up, then this will be the last one. Well, I don't know if it's spiritual or what, but I had a dream that night. I was on a plateau, cliffside in Nevada, somewhere in the desert, with 4 other random people. I'd never met these people before, and not since. So I don't know. I guess it's just my brain doing stuff. But I arrived with a girl was driving an old Jeep. The girl had short brown hair. She was a literal angel in my eyes in that dream. I sat and talked to her on the ledge of the mountain, the little plateau thing that we were on. And while we talked, she drew a picture of the sunset. In my mind, I can still see it, clear as day. It was the most beautiful picture I've ever seen drawn. After the sunset, we all sat around the campfire chatting like old friends, even though I've never met any of them before. And as the night went to a close, right before I woke up, the girl stood up, hugged me, as if she knew the dream was coming to an end. And it was the warmest feeling throughout my entire chest. It just made me feel like everything was going to be okay. I can still feel it whenever I have a bad day, or I get to really thinking lowly of myself. I wish that that would have been the end of the story there. That everything would have went to what it is now for me. So where I feel more comfortable with myself. But I guess it was just another twist in the tale of life. It definitely around that time I just was depressed beyond all belief. I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to get out of bed. And I didn't. I laid there days and days, Family would come and check on me every once in a while, sit with me, and everything hurt. You know, just the whole situation. It was just so unfortunate for me. You know, after that, I developed like a really bad case of agoraphobia. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't be around people. I couldn't be in public. It would send me into panic attacks. And I still deal with some of that today. I can't even ride in the passenger seat of a car anymore. If I'm not driving, then I get just profusely sick to my stomach. And it definitely makes some things harder to do. But, you know, if that's all I gotta worry about, then I'm happy with that. Now, I definitely still, after that, alcohol came back to me. Or I guess made its way to me for the first time. Legally, maybe. Now, after that, I started to drink pretty heavily to deal with some of the pain, even after everything, just to, I don't know, dull it. It was not the right choice. And it's, like I said in the start, one of the things I'll regret most in my life, more than anything. But, you know, I've learned as I've gotten older to control those urges, to control that addiction, and to not let it be part of me. I've even gone as far as to move back home. I had a good job, and it had really good people there. And I recently had to leave it because of just some unfortunate things that happened, I guess you could say. It was just like bad upper management, I guess is the best way to put it, from like people that were above my supervisor. But, you know, it's giving me more time to do this YouTube thing for a little while anyways, before I eventually, if it doesn't pan out, to pack up my things and go on to a new venture. But, you know, after everything, I've got to see 2 of my friends, or at least hear for one of them, that they got married. And they are my best friends. And they're married to 2 of the best women I know at this point in my life. But, you know, we get to have all these great shenanigans that I can put on for us weekly. And, you know, the more people that subscribe, the more good times I can make with all my old friends and any of the new ones that come along. And hopefully we can live the big YouTube dream together. But I love you guys. All of you. Have a great day. Bye.